Today, we're joined by actor Marcus Henderson, a Yale School of Drama alum from St. Louis, Missouri. You've seen him on Get Out, Django Unchained, Whiplash, and Insidious: The Last Key. Plus, on TV as Sergeant Andre Wright in FX's Snowfall and a fan favorite, Granny, on True TV's Tacoma FD. He continues to balance film, television, and theater with new projects on the horizon. Please welcome to Whiskey Soured, Marcus Henderson.
You add all that in at the do you add all that in once it?
I don't do none of that. I
Oh,
leave it
okay.
black.
Okay. Yeah.
I leave it
I mean, you could at
black.
least give me some Arsenio hoots or something, like
Well, I got the
hoop.
Arsenio fingers. Okay, that's an F.
Okay. Respect.
How are you? Welcome, friend. Welcome.
Well, thank you, friend. Finally,
Oh my gosh.
so
So
long.
it's been a minute, but it's so funny because guys, when I shot Marcus a text, it was very, very professional, very formal. And he called and was like, wait a second, we not friends.
We not friends.
We not friends.
Hey, I'm
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 like,
I'm I'm so and so and so and so's friend. Just wondering if what
I
we
know.
not friends?
I was like, oh my gosh, like
You've been in my home before.
right. Like as if I haven't been to your house a couple times, as if I haven't eaten the food that the emos that your parents have brought out here. I just,
Come on.
what's new? What's new?
Whew, man, it's moving right now. It's moving. I don't know. I recently had this experience where, I kind of was thinking about things, thinking about life in LA, thinking about like raising kids out here and stuff like that, and how like life in St. Louis was just so different that like, man, I'm kind of growing up with my kids right now. Like, all this like breaking the generational curses and things like that, like all that stuff is real, man. And the older my kids get, the more I'm seeing more of myself and these things that I thought were just supposed to be, regular, end up being things that are actually like really like weird and messed up. Like I didn't mean to. The other day, I was trying to get my daughter to eat her dinner. Like, you got to eat dinner before bed. You got to eat dinner before bed. She just didn't want that food, and I tried to bribe her, and I bribed her with some like pie or something like that, and she said, and I said, "You'll eat it, right?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll eat it." And the next day, I found it in the trash, and I was like, "Damn." But when I looked in the refrigerator, the pie was still there. So like, that I, I respected it. I was like, all right, you still kept the integrity of like, I didn't want this. I'm not gonna eat it. And guess what? Fuck your reward. So,
So wait, how old is your daughter again? Because she was the youngest, right?
no, she's the oldest. She's 12.
Really?
Yeah, she's
Wait a
12.
second. Wait, so that
Yeah,
means okay, I'm trying to think of how old she was the last time I saw her. And
probably
it's been
like
a minute.
8 or 9, maybe like 8 or 9.
Okay. And so she's older than that now. And then
Yeah,
she was just
she
like,
is.
screw it. I'm not okay. So by that time, I don't even think I'm looking back over my life. And by that time, she's like 13 now. That means I am in middle school. Yeah, I was eating because I was hungry.
Yeah,
School was too
yeah.
hard and too complicated. You have after school projects. I'm tired. I would come home and maybe do homework or take a nap, and I'm eating. I'm gonna need for her to eat her food. And it's listen. The groceries are too high for
Yeah.
her
It's too much.
to eat
You be wasting
food.
this food now. Come on. Just say
Like
you don't want to eat it. Let me
and, and
take care of it.
and then just maybe say, Daddy, I could really go for some hot wings. Could I really just can you order me some hot wings? Like that's what I'm on.
The solution to it all was just to say, well, if you want something different, you're gonna have to cook it yourself.
That
You
is
know,
true too.
that's the
That's
that's
true.
the real like that's the real like put the autonomy into her hands, let her decide what she wants, and not this old school, this is your option, this is it,
And
eat the
that's it.
food because I said so. Like what are we doing?
And clean the plate.
Clear the plate.
Glitter plate. So, okay, so how is that balancing, fatherhood, your family relationship, but being a part of the entertainment industry? Because I know that it could be strenuous hours, like you could be gone sometimes for 12 hours at a time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what is that like balancing,
yeah. Well,
fatherhood, your marriage, and the industry?
what's funny is like, yes, 12 hours sometimes here and there, but other time it's like I'm home. And
Okay.
I'm not a partier or anything like that. I'm a very like intimate individual. So like I'm usually at home or inviting people to the house or something like that. Cause yeah, I like being at home. And so I've been very, 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 very fortunate to be able to be working in LA like pretty consistently since
Okay.
2018. I haven't really had to travel anywhere. I probably went overseas last year for a movie for about a month, and that was it. Like it was like other than that, I was just working. I've been working in LA, and I've been very
Oh
fortunate to
yeah,
do so.
you very lucky. You are very lucky because a lot of my friends end up in Canada,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe Atlanta, but mainly
man, they
Canada
taking
for the
niggas
most
to
part.
South Africa these days. Like,
Okay. And
yeah,
and that's true because I have a friend on a show that's on BET. They filmed in South Africa this
yep,
year. So I was like, okay,
exactly,
dang. So I mean,
exactly.
because of, like family and everything, has there, and like you, for the most part, being based here, is there something you could have, that you might have, that you've turned down because it's so far in the time span being away from your family? Or are you like, nah, it was just that
Uh,
one thing?
no, yeah, I think a part of this is still being able to keep my dream alive too. Like, and I think having a family that supports that is is very essential. My wife, whenever I have to leave town, she's uh, always been like the superwoman to like just pick up and do things as if everything was just still on track. I've been gone up to 3 months before, but they come out to visit and things like that. But yeah, it definitely takes a toll, but it also like has its rewards to it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. The rewards at the
yeah,
end.
yeah, the reward. I mean, it's much more beneficial to be able to have the experience and you know go through what you have to go through. Whether it be good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Um, and then to like say, oh man, I could have did that, or oh man, you end up watching it, and it's a cool project, and you like, damn, I could have had that role. Like oh man, that tears you up. But I mean, and I also believe what's for you is for you. If I'm
Absolutely.
not meant to be there, like, you know, God ain't gonna have me there, So
That's real.
I'm also like, that's why I'm like very like aware of the time that I am spending with my family, the time that I am with them. Like, you really got to enjoy it. Like, I also like chilling too. Like, I'll be like, all right, I'm chilling right now. Go, y'all go. But also, like, I'm here though. I'm still here. So, yeah.
Let's take it back to the beginning. Let's go home because you're from the crib. You're from St.
Yeah.
Louis. Makes us proud.
Jennings, to be exact. J Town.
Yes. You went to Jennings High School. Actually, my cousin lives across the street, and I know Leon knows my cousin, was friends with my cousin Breon.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, and so that's why I was like, wait a second. I was like, wait, you Breon? I thought Marcus was older. I was like, oh, I'm all messed up.
Yeah.
But growing up in St. Louis, sometimes and how the media portrays St. Louis is just so in a negative light for the most part. And so we have experienced a lot of things, especially as Black people growing up in
Mhm.
such a segregated city. How did you figure out that, or when did you know that you really wanted to pursue acting? Was there a class that you took or something you saw that really kind of piqued your interest to say, this is what I'm going to do? And then ultimately to end up at Yale, which is such a prestigious program
Mhm.
regarding, and everything, but mainly
Yeah,
acting.
yeah, yeah. um, yeah, I think that like for me, um, I grew up watching a lot of TV, man. I was
Hmm.
watching a lot of TV, a lot of movies, like, and you remember like I didn't even know how people got on TV. I just knew like sometimes people were just on channel 11 sometimes. Like, they
Hmm.
had local TV on channel 11.
Yep.
I see people on there and I'd be like, oh man, that's dope. Like, but I had no idea how any of it worked. I was always in this like illusion that it was really magic. And I guess I never really thought of it being a career until I got to Alabama State. Alabama State is, under Dr. Tonia Stewart. She's the one who like really kind of encouraged me to that I could be somebody in the industry. That I had what it took. And so I was like, okay, it's a weird thing to just kind of float in the wind of what you are doing because when I left St. Louis to go to Alabama State, I went to go play football. I went for physical education degree, and I ended up coming out of there with a theater degree, and was on my way to Yale to get my master's in acting. So like it's just like a thing where like that just because she said like, oh, I think you got a chance at this, and the many adventures I went on at that school and who I felt like I experienced, like that was all. I feel like it was all meant to be, and it all just like kind of culminated to right now.
Isn't it so crazy how people can see things in you that you never even thought about?
That's why I try my best to like encourage people now that like who might have that little artistic bone in them or something like that like because what I found is that like a person who can express themselves is a person who can find peace.
Mm,
So if you can express yourself, and find an expression in a healthy manner, no matter what that is, whether it be through visual art, verbal art, movement, like it's all like just it's all just ways of just talking and saying something. And so my encouragement to people usually is like, yo, what are you doing to express yourself? What are you doing to like be heard, for yourself, for your own sanity. um, I choose a lot of different creative outlets, to express myself. uh, I like to play music. I play with puppets. You know
you do puppets? Oh my God, I'm a puppeteer.
no, you're not.
Yes. Okay. So, yes, I am. Hidden talent in church. We had a puppet ministry.
Nice.
And so we would tour the country spreading the word of God through puppetry. So I was a part of, I'm a puppeteer. Seriously. I'll show you the pictures. I'll get the pic. I'm gonna text them to you.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe
Yes,
you.
yes. Oh my gosh, like
Yeah, that's
I get
dope.
so excited about puppets and all of that. Like, still love Sesame Street. Any film with puppets, for the most part,
Yeah, then
I'm a
you're
tune
gonna be
into
great.
it.
We're definitely like, you definitely just made a connection because there's some things happening right now where I've been developing a puppet show. And yeah, yeah, I just, it's something about like being in LA and wanting to find just the right people. Like you can
Yeah,
find anybody anywhere, anytime, man. This is
that's
everybody's
so
everywhere out here.
crazy.
You know what I mean? And we all like kind of go in and out of each other's circles with people that we know, especially in our
That's
community,
true.
right? But like when you find the right people, the right people that just like move you forward, that you feel inspired by when you're around, the people that like allow you to be yourself and
Yeah.
not have to posture or feel like you gotta have more or whatever. but just like those people who are just being them, and then they inspire you just being them, you know. And that's something I really admire, and that's what I find in the right people, you know.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about all of this, even the puppet conversation, because it came up, we're in a group chat together on Instagram. It's called Puppet People. And my sister sent us a video of something and said, should we be making puppet content? And I told her, I said, hey, my friend Ken Edwin said to me, I told him because he was shocked. He was like, you should be doing interviews, but as a puppet. And I'm like, okay,
Do
look.
you want to do a puppet interview instead? Like,
I don't think people realize how difficult puppetry is though. Like we did a puppet ministry last year as a fundraiser for our church.
mhm,
And so we probably haven't performed together at this point in like 15, 20 years. So it was like a lot of the originals that were there, people that we
mhm.
hadn't seen since we were kids and all of that. But you forget when you're removed from it, and remembering the technique, the belly button high, the eye contact, and everything, and then you singing songs, or you trying to do like dance, like choreography with your arms and hands. Shout out to these
Yeah,
arms though.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but it's crazy, and I think also there's this portal of us from St. Louis. Somehow we always find each other. And I know
Mhm,
Leon and I, Marcus's brother, we went to Webster together, but Leon is older than me, so we didn't overlap. But
right.
his wife and I did, Jessica. But all of our friends, like, is everybody always is how are you still in LA? Next week I'll be in LA for 15 years. So by the time this drops,
Wow,
it'll be 15 years.
nice.
And um always explain to people, I said, I always knew I would end up out in either LA or New York. The summer of my freshman year of high school, I went to New York and LA. And I was like, LA is me. It's the air, everything. I feel at home here. And when I graduated from Webster, I moved out here like
Mhm.
4 or 5 months after. And I have never looked back. I had a job. I was working for Nordstrom. They allowed me to transfer. So I had a job. Um, and though I'm unemployed right now, it's cool. Everything is gonna work out. And just really finding my way, but also not allowing this city to, really,
Yeah,
really mess me up. Because this city will chew you up and spit
well,
you out.
I think it just tries to dictate. I say this about New York a lot. I say New York has a beat that you have to march to. LA,
Hmm.
you get to make your own beat up,
Yep.
hands down. You get to make your own beat up here. You know what I mean? And you just got to find your beat out here, whatever that is. And some people find it a little easier than others. Some people come out here with a beat. But for the most part, and speaking personally, I didn't come out here with the real beat. I came out here with the tools for a beat, but I didn't come out here with a beat. And it's so apparent, like when I see younger actors now, and they already got like they team and they 10-year plan figured out and all. Like, what the fuck is that? But it's interesting. It's like it's just like, wow, okay. But finding my way, and knowing that, like, I used to say these things to myself when I was 20, or like, it's all a journey. It's just a journey. It's a journey, guys. And
Yeah.
and now I'm realizing how much of a journey it is. And wow, man, how blessed are we? Like you said, 15 years in LA. Like, that's not that's not a easy task, especially when you got your pole in the water and ain't nothing biting for a while or something like that, and you just trying to like make it happen. Like, but what I was gonna say earlier, when you said, "Hey, I'm unemployed, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get that." No, you're not. When you working for yourself, you ain't never unemployed. You know what I mean?
You right. You right.
When you working, that's you on this border. You know what I mean? That's
You are correct. You are
This is your
correct.
show. This,
And
this, this
currently
is this is
just
what this is the thing that people need to see, and then they gonna say, "Oh man, let me get her to host my next gig."
absolutely, I received that. I received that.
You know,
Amen.
and now you're getting paid, and now this is your job. You know, and it's
Yeah,
always been your job. You
you are
know.
correct. You want to know what's funny about doing broadcasting is my mom selected my degree when I went to Webster. Y'all, I did not want to go to college, at least not right away. I wanted to take a gap year, and figure it out. And I really wanted to model. And my mom, old school, Midwest way of thinking was like, if you leave, you can't come back to my
Oh,
house. We go to school. Education is important because that's all she knew. That's what her father taught her. So this is what I'm instilling in you guys. And my sister was able, similarly to you, to go to school. She does interior and architecture design. So she was like, okay, these are things that I like. How can I make money off of this? And that's what she did and got her master's as well. But I was just like, all right, cool. This is cool because
yeah,
it's something, like a
yeah.
backup plan, and it worked out and I got immersed in it and I love it. And and even still wanting to act, I did acting at Webster and all that stuff, and having friends that are in the industry and you getting small projects and everything, and they're helping you sharpen that knife. It's definitely been a journey, and it's been a lot of fun.
Were you
Uh,
there at the same time as Will Davis?
do I know who?
Will Davis
Why
in
does
the
the
theater.
name?
I think he changed his name to Trey Davis now. He goes by Trey Davis now.
Let me look that up. I'm like, I know Trey Mo, and he does puppets. I don't know him, but I know of him. Hold on, Trey Davis.
Trey Davis. I think he was on that like firefighter show. I know him because we did a thing in New Jersey. We were in New Jersey at the same time for a little while, and he
Yeah,
told me he went to Webster. He was in school at Webster at the time.
I don't think this is the person. Let me Google because Instagram is the go-to.
Right, right.
um, you know who? Wait, is that? Wait a second. No, that's not the State Farm guy, right?
No. Mm.
Okay, because the State Farm guy. Uh, oh,
Jake
okay.
from
So
State Farm?
no, that is W. Trey Davis. So that's what he goes by now. And I'm seeing that he's on Fire Country. So
Yeah.
he might be, that might be, Fire Country would be my friend. I think that's Ty. I think Ty's done that show. Ty White.
Okay.
But no, State Farm guy went to Webster.
But not Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, Jake from State Farm, the black
Jake
guy.
from State Farm went to Webster.
Yeah, he went to Webster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I didn't know him. Apparently my homeboy D knew him and used to cut his hair. So, but the world is small. Like somebody's like, do you remember him from Webster? I'm like, girl, I don't know him. If you was not in the AAAC with the blacks, I don't know you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
Webster program for acting, because I wanted to be an acting minor, but they was like, no, girl, it's either or. Like you have to
Mm,
really like how the program is set up. You can't.
yeah.
So like, all right, I'll just take acting classes. It's fine. So, all right. Let's get into it. All right.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of the first time I met you.
Oh shit, please.
And it was a minute ago, right? And I'm at Jessica and Leon's house. And
Okay.
you hit the corner and you come into the kitchen, and I freak out because there's a moment where I'm
Ah.
like disillusioned with reality. And all of a sudden I'm in Get Out, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm
Yeah.
so tell us about Get Out. Like I know that is such oh my God, it's such a great film.
Mhm,
Uh
mhm.
but tell us about that, like that experience for you?
Uh, man, it really, I feel like, it really was one of those moments when we were doing it where we were like, man, this is magical. Like everybody was in agreement, like this is magical. And the energy was all felt that like we were doing something special. But I gotta tell you, man, it's like time kind of goes and this thing ages like fine wine. Like, oof, man, how special is this, man? How special, you know, I filmed that movie in 2016, and 9 years later, I'm like talking about it like it was yesterday. And, I don't have that with any other film. I mean, I've been a part of classics. So, uh, but Get Out is just like this really special film that just like, it's a gift that just gonna keep on giving, especially for a career. But it really was at that time, man. Like everything was just felt on point. Like I had met one of the first people I met was Betty, who played grandma. Like she was just like really cool, and I learned a lot about her. Uh, then like got to know Daniel a bit, and the funny thing about that was like I told him that like maybe a few months beforehand somebody had texted me and was like, hey man, I didn't know you was in Sicario. I was like, I'm not in Sicario. And then I'm like, was I in Sicario? Did I do something? They changed the name of it? And I looked it up and I watched the trailer and I was like, what is he talking about? And this is one moment where Daniel, like, the camera's like quick pan on him. And I was like, wait a second. And I did a double take. But I don't think we look anything alike, honestly. I think it's probably like just something in our eyes, maybe that
I
people
was gonna say it's the act.
thinks is similar. So but that was the first time anybody had ever colluded me, and that's what I call it now, because uh after after the after, like, during the award season or something like that, we would go to a award show or go to a tastemaker or whatever, some party to promote the movie, and um somebody would be in conversation with me, and I mean, like, it would happen every single time, like every like at least once, if not more, at least
Wow.
once every time we went out, to a point where I was just kind of waiting for it or anticipating it because it was happening so frequently. But people would be talking to me and they would just be like, yeah, the movie's so good and you're so good. And don't you just wish they do a sequel?
Like, no, you're confusing your blacks again.
Well, it's just like in that moment, you just like, I mean, of course, I would love for them to be able to do a sequel to it, but also like
Mhm.
for my benefit, I would love a prequel. And
Yeah.
and she was like, "What?" And then that's when it hits them, and they're like, "Oh shit, I'm not talking to him." And I mean, like really important people too, like that. You'd be like, "Really? You thought I was him?" But but it's not a bad thing to be mistaken for somebody like that, man. That's all good.
Listen, it's better than being mistaken for Nene Leakes or people telling you you look like Nene Leakes. So,
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
When it be
yeah.
the blonde hair, I'm like, all y'all see is a black person, blonde hair. I'm
Yeah,
like,
short blonde hair at that.
yeah, sure. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here, but yeah. So you've also had the opportunity to work with Quentin Tarantino as well in
Oh yeah,
Django.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got a resume out there, okay? It is iconic. Uh, what was your experience like working with Tarantino versus Jordan Peele?
I think because I think Django was maybe Quentin's sixth or seventh movie. I think it was his, might have been his seventh movie.
Mhm.
Um, I think that his experience and his command for the set was much different than Jordan's. Even though Jordan had a respect of the set, I think that Quentin's command might have been just a little different, just out of my own observation. Um, but I feel like Jordan's set was a lot less like tense, even though
Mm,
we were shooting a horror movie. It felt very like, I don't know, like organic, you
yeah.
know? Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, Jordan's process felt very organic, while Quentin's felt very like, you know, um, I don't even know what the word for that is that can leave a good taste in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like, but just very him. It's his. You know.
I would say both pieces are both, big and well received in their own right, but you are playing the underlining theme of both films. We're talking about racism. So
Hmm.
how was that like embodying that role, both roles, because you're going from a slave, then you go to this person who is pretty much, you become a science experiment. No slavery, yes, that happened too.
Yeah, yeah,
But in modern
yeah.
times,
I
yeah,
get
because
what you
we don't
mean.
talk about that enough when it comes to slavery. But you were playing like racism is the theme. How did you prepare for that, stepping into those roles? Because I could imagine, the
Yeah,
toll that could take on someone.
yeah. I was just telling somebody the other day, like I'm very mindful of what I audition for.
Mm.
And sometimes I do things because it's like a favor to somebody, or it's leading to something else. It's just a chess move or whatever. But like, I find that a lot of times, man, I take things personally, like for myself, like when I certain roles that I play. And I feel like, so when I was younger and I first started acting and stuff like that, coming from HBCU and that program specifically, where we were so invested in the stories of uh, early African American stories, that that talked about slavery, that talked about the experience. My first play I directed was about the birth of Nat Turner, and um, and just like what that would mean. But but I remember specifically being like, man, we already see what it's like, man. We ain't playing no slave roles. We ain't doing none of that. And then the first role I played once I got here was a slave, and I thought, how ironic was that? Um, but again, like it was one of those things where like I took this role personally because when I read the script, uh, I was going for, I wanted to make a real splash. So I wanted to play D'Artagnan, the slave that got ripped up by the dogs. I was like, oh yeah, that'll touch their heartstrings or some bullshit like that. But uh, I ended up going to the audition. It was just kind of like an open call, man. He just wanted to see black people, I guess, and I was new in town. I was just getting out of grad school. You know, I was big, I was black. I looked like I could have been a slave. So I got the appointment. But I did something with the material, and enough to where he wanted to meet. So we met and we talked. We talked about grad school, we talked about plays, talked about Shakespeare, all this stuff. And then he called me in again with a group of guys, and I guess he had the idea of putting me in that beginning where you saw me in the movie.
Hmm.
And he just wanted to see what the chemistry was, because it was also auditioning the same people who were in the little chicken coop at the end, with Omar Dorsey and Jamie and all them was in there. So we did that. We went through that process, and when they offered, Big Sid was the character's name. When they offered Big Sid to me, and I found out I was one of the slaves that like got away, and because it was one slave. One thing they didn't show in the movie that was in the script was that like it was six of us in line, but one person died. I think you even see him, but like they like he ended up being cut out. Like you don't see him no more. So you're like, damn, what happened to that dude? But it was like
Yeah.
he died. So like I was like, as long as my character doesn't die, like, or I don't have no gruesome death, like I guess I'm cool with this. And so that night, so what was cool was when we finally got there and was doing the movie and everything, and they put us in the shackles and stuff, man, it was like shit, it just felt real. It just felt so real. And then what made it so bad, as soon as they put the shackles on us and we're waiting, they got to wet the ground so that the steam will come up. And they putting
Hmm.
all this cold water out there because it's cold outside. They pouring all this like hot water out there, or warm water, so that the steam will be coming up while we going and getting that effect. And man, I had to go to the bathroom. As soon as I was like, oh shit, they ready to roll. We rolling on film. I was like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. And Jamie was like, what? You gotta go to the bathroom? Hey man, he gotta go to the bathroom. He gotta go to the bathroom. And then they came out and unlocked me, but I had to be unlocked to go to the bathroom. Then I had to just like go in
Yeah.
the woods, not far from everybody. Like like these kind of conditions kind of help to like the feeling that you kind of stay in that. You kind of collect it like a Mario coin as you're going along. Like, you can experience things in any circumstance at any point in time just by thinking it. And so being there in that moment, yeah, that was a lot. Um, but yeah, that's also one of those movies where it's like he's just the all time, you know, some people's GOAT director, and they love his films. He has a whole following, so like
Hmm.
that's uh that's pretty cool. Like also to just say like, hey, I was directed by Quentin Tarantino. Not
Hey,
everybody is gonna get that experience.
that's true.
And then as far as like with Jordan in that role, man, I read that script and you know what made me want to do that movie? Uh the ending. The
Ah,
ending felt so real and so like such a fucking real choice to put.
yep.
It felt so bold to like put out there to say like, this is what happens. This is what it is. You know, suck my dick, America. This is what happens for real to black people. You
Yeah.
know, and I remember uh maybe like the end of October, maybe of that year after we shot it, and we had lunch, and he was like, "I'm changing the ending," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
I was
Like,
about to
I'm
say,
I'm
yeah.
changing the ending. We tested it, and black people hate it, and I was like, "Oh shit, for real?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." So we're changing it, and I was like, "Oh damn, okay," you know, and and I was like, and then I didn't see what the ending was gonna be until I read it when I got there, and I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. All right. I mean, very different, but still very justified. Like, you know what, man? It's all a fantasy anyway. Let's keep it in that world. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's keep it in that
Um,
world.
my question to you is there was this whole debate when Get Out won an Oscar. And then you have Jordan Peele tweet out because it won Best Comedy. And then people felt like, oh, it should have been in this category I don't even, there's not even a horror category, if I'm not mistaken,
No,
for
there's no
the
horror
Academy anyway,
category.
which is interesting considering the amount of horror that we get on a yearly basis, even though a lot of it is. But when he came out and said it was a documentary, did you have any sort of reaction to that, or like, oh, I can see how you got there. Just given our
Yeah, I
history.
mean, it certainly was a mirror being held up, especially for the year that we were about to have in our administration that year.
Mhm.
Like it was like, yo, let's wake up. Let's like, if anything, I would say that like our movie was the movie that like kind of like drove this idea of a woke movement, and it's interesting that like now how much of it holds up still, and like like he literally just made everybody Chris, like
Hmm.
everybody is Chris in this movie, and you had to feel something of like how creepy or weird this is. And if you felt that, then you know what it was like to be black for just a
A
couple of
moment.
minutes, like just for an hour or so. You was like, oh, that's what it's like to be black. Like that's the experience at times.
I between that and short-lived Lovecraft Country, I thought they
Yeah.
both did an excellent job of what our experience is like
Hmm.
through this scientific, Afro surrealism like
Yeah.
standpoint, and I challenge people a lot of times to like, okay, if this is making you uncomfortable, then this is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you take a step back and
Yeah.
observe what's happening, the blind eye that you're turning, the privilege that you have, and if it bothers you, you should speak up. You should become an ally and look out. And a lot of people, they
Hmm.
just still sit kind of quiet because things benefit them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next question to you is in Tacoma FD, you are hilarious while in Snowfall, you're serious and grounded. How do you shift gears between comedy and intense drama?
Oh, I think they're one and the same. The
Okay.
same as like comedy and horror, right? Like
Hmm.
you can either be scared or you can be laughing your ass off, or you can be doing one or the other, mistaken for either or. But for me, I'm always very like comedy minded. Like
Okay.
what will make this funny? What would make this funny? How can I make this even more funny? Um, but I'm also just a grounded person. I'm just a real person. That's why, people meet me and they're like, man, you're just so real. You're like, what else am I supposed to be? What else am I supposed to be?
That's hilarious. Okay.
Hi. Just hi. How you doing? You know? So yeah, I think, I'm just a grounded individual, and that's where I come from with my characters.
Hmm.
So uh I always start with the groundedness because that's just who I am. And either it's gonna and then from there it's just the writing, really.
Hmm.
Um, are we going one way or are we going the other? But they're all on the same spectrum. So yeah, on one, I'm trying to stop my daughter from doing crack. The other one, I'm trying to stop somebody from like overdosing from putting crack in their crack. Like
I'm sorry.
it's just all in the situation, I guess.
Do you see yourself ultimately getting into writing and directing?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Man, I just had a really wonderful experience on this show called Golf, that Will Ferrell is starring in, and I got to do this scene with him, and it was just so inspiring to like sit there and watch him as like executive producer, lead actor, like co-showrunner, like just like doing it, and then David Gordon Green being the director he is, man. It just like so in his element, so just what he's doing is like all that, man. And yeah, I just really want to like be able to do that at some point. But yeah, I mean, like I've started to write some things. I know we got to watch what we say because there's so much power in the tongue. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's coming up next. That's gonna be the follow up.
I am writing. I am in the steps taking steps towards directing. I mean, because mainly it's just about doing it. It's not about like trying. You can't try to do these things. Like you just got to do them.
Yeah, you have to,
So
especially in this industry.
yeah, so a part of that is just for me, like I said earlier, it's the right people. It's just finding the right people, and so yeah, that's what it is for me.
Okay. So with the industry and the introduction or inception of AI, and we're off the heels of the last strike where there was a tentative agreement put in place.
Mhm.
And then now, what was it? WGA announcing that they have the first AI actress and SAG-AFTRA, releasing a statement this morning pushing back against that. Uh, where do you see the industry going? Like you mentioned, oh, we have to watch what we say. We have to do all this, different stuff because of the administration for the most part. How do you see what do you see next? Because for me, to be honest, I said, oh my God, like we're on the heels of, of another strike potentially. I
Mhm.
think I was at 50, I'm at 60% that it might happen now. As you talk to
Mhm.
people and, have dialogues about what's happening and how it impacts everyone individually. What do you see, happening and shifting in the next couple of years? Hell, even
Um,
just the next year, the
in the
end of the
next
year.
year or so, I mean, look, we drown ourselves in entertainment because it's already like we need distractions from our day. We need distractions from the mundane, everyday, going to work, going to, church, going to, wherever we volunteer, little hangout spot, to home, to sleep, to wake up, to doing it all over again. Like
Mhm,
that's why we have entertainment. That's why we're entertainers. And even though like entertainment might look differently, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over or it's just done. Now, it's just gonna be done differently. I mean, I kind of think about like how like in my grandma's generation, like they wouldn't touch a microwave. Like, what is that?
my grandma
you know,
wouldn't fly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm not doing that, and my thing is that like, okay, what is there to benefit from what all of this is? What is
Mhm,
there to like come of all of this? And at the end of the day, man, like we always, especially in this country, man, we always end up getting bored with something. We
mhm,
always get tired and we just move on to the next thing. It's like a little 3-year-old child. That's all we are. So like, so what if AI, yeah, AI can get it, but eventually at some point people gonna get tired of AI. They gonna be like, that's why I think Network is such a interest, like it's such a relevant movie to me. Like I'm gonna say this all the time. With I never have a problem when people like, what's your favorite movie of all time? Be like Network, easy. Patty Chayefsky, Sidney Lumet, go see it. It's brilliant because they talk about this. They're not talking about it in the sense of like AI, but they are talking about a looming threat to the industry of news television.
mhm.
In that at that time they were talking about reality television. And now you see what reality television has done to script it. And now that reality television sort of ran rampant, now they're like tired of reality television. Give us AI. Give us
Mhm.
AI because they're tired of reality television. See, so like it's just a circle that's just gonna come right back around, and niggas gonna be listening to records. They tired of XM radio. Just give me my record that I want to listen to. I'm gonna spin my own shit.
It is
We
like
got
that. It is
tired of the
true.
iPod. We moved on,
Well,
to the
did we
iPad.
get tired of the iPod friend, or was it that the iPhone came out, so we had it all in one spot?
I think we just tired. I mean, I think you got tired of your iPod. Yeah, it doesn't mean it don't exist no more. It
Yeah.
still exists.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to go somewhere without your phone. Maybe you
You-
want options. But guess what? We grew tired of that option. So now you just got one option.
Oh my gosh. You
So
sound like
so my point is, that's my point though. That's my point.
yeah.
Keep being an option.
Mm.
Keep being an option. If AI is such a looming threat, keep being an option. Because I promise you that, and that's my mentality about it. Is
Yeah.
that I'm just gonna keep being an option. Like, I'm not gonna turn my creativity off just because
Yeah.
another, something that came along. I can still create. I can still have dreams. I can still have premonition. I can still look and visualize and manifest. I can do all of that still. AI didn't come along and take that away. I mean, now if you want to get down into like the real metaphysics of it and talk about the calcifying of the third eye and stuff like that, man, too much AI, too much of this on the computer, all this kind of stuff can end up doing that, and you'll lose a lot of intuition based on that, which is, you know,
Yeah, you
a
really got
thing.
deep. You got
I'm
a
just
little
saying,
you
like,
got a little Dr. Umar. No, I'm just kidding. No, okay, so it's interesting you bring that up, right? So as a journalist, and currently taking a modern journalism course, one of the things that you know that is talked about is just now because of social media and how quickly you could get things, it allows everyone to kind of be a journalist. The power of the internet and social media and how quickly and rapidly things move, it allows space for everybody, each one of us to be a journalism in a sense. Now, where the disconnect comes in is whether the information that is passed out is legitimate, how accurate it is, and then that's where the parts why journalists are still important because of that, because of accuracy, reporting news, the facts, what are the facts and what's happening. But what we're seeing here is the lines get blurred. So when people talk about different events that take place, for example, a quick easy one is the hiring of influencers. uh
Mhm.
Remember at the Grammys, they're interviewing Vanity Fair, not Vanity Fair, the AP has some influencers talking to Babyface, and Chapel Roan walks by, and they yell out, Chapel, Chapel, interrupting this interview that they have with this iconic legend, and it pissed everybody off, where now it's us putting out a statement. And AP putting out a statement apologizing to Babyface, and they'll, do better in the future. So I think with AI, when it comes to journalism, there can be areas where this it could be useful as far as like, okay, we're in the newsroom, we're having our morning meeting, we need topics, right?
Yeah.
But I should not have to rely on AI to write an article for me about whatever, or a paper. I have a 20-page paper due. Get your ass in the library, dive through
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
internet, and
Yeah.
not that it cannot guide you, but it's like there's this cheat code that's happening, and where you talk about lack of
Yeah.
interactions with people. So I mean, I'm a person that is very pro having so many friends in the industry and being in the industry myself. It's like, hey man, this is why taking independent routes, though tougher,
Hmm.
but once you network and know your net worth with people, do your own thing, because I'm not gonna rely on Hollywood
Yeah.
is still corporate. When if we really be honest about it, Hollywood is corporate, so it's just about
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's just about, like, man, I didn't realize this, and I'm so late to the game on it, but there's so many actors who like work overseas,
Hmm.
like big stars who do like movies overseas that only like people over there be seeing, like, especially back in the day, man, they give you like $100,000 cash just to come out there for like 3 weeks to do a movie. Like, man, that was a, but like today, it's yeah, it's corporate. It's like everybody got to follow the money. Like back then, it was like, man, you can get Nino Brown to cover the expenses for everything. You be good, but
Yeah.
now you got to follow the money everywhere. So it's a little more difficult. But yeah, I believe that, man. I feel like Corey Jefferson had a great Oscar speech when he was like, you know, I'd rather see 10 $2 million movies than one $20 million movie every 3 months. Like
Mhm.
you have the ability to spread out this wealth of a pot to fund really good content, really good stories that could be told, but from really good storytellers and
Yeah.
filmmakers. But instead, like, we give so much money over to production that just like, I don't know. It's deeper than what I'm talking about right now, I feel like. But I really think that Corey Jefferson was on to something when he said that.
Yeah. But when you think about the reality of everything, like I was talking about, we started to kind of do like movie reviews or whatever. I went to go see One Battle After Another last night. Really
Yeah.
great film, by the way.
Yes.
But
My brother
I,
worked on that. Shout out to Leon.
Leon worked on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's doing locations on it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! First of all, just yeah,
Yeah,
it is great. I didn't
it's
even
a
I don't be
great
asking
movie.
questions because I see Lee out here and there, and then when we talking about stuff, it's like random stuff when we texting. But um, I I was talking about the so from seeing Sinners to
Mm,
everything that has dropped after that. Um, a lot of stuff has been. This is the second film that I've enjoyed all year. One battle after another, and I was like,
yeah,
oh damn, I want to go see this again. This was such
yeah,
a good
yeah,
experience. Really dope story, great storytelling, like all-star cast. But everything else in the middle, like you said, these big blockbuster films, uh, and they kind of mediocre.
I mean, yeah, of course they are. You know, I didn't take when I enjoy Superman. I didn't take it too seriously. Like, but I just like James Gunn. I did it because I like James Gunn. Like,
Do you like
he's from the
James Gunn
crib.
because he James Gunn, or do you like James Gunn because he's from St. Louis?
I mean, you gotta support the crib, man. You gotta support the crib.
I'll say this. I'm not a big comic book girly. My dad and my sister are. I know the history,
Mhm.
ins and outs of everything. My sister loves Smallville, goes back, like she's deep in the
Yeah,
culture.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so is my dad. My dad's like, oh, this isn't right because Lex Luthor. I'm like, okay, Lex Luthor, but okay, I get how you got there. But I do enjoy Peacemaker. That's on HBO. I do like that. That is
Yeah.
very well done. Um, but between that, even I was kind of not impressed with Fantastic Four. It wasn't for me.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, but I I don't know. I think let's just be clear. The issue is Hollywood is still gatekeeping. They still won't let new people in, new talented writers. We know so many of them.
Mhm.
Um, to and disrupt the space and come in because for Sinners to be probably one of the bigger films of the year, and that came out in April. I went to see it 3 times in the different formats.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but that says a lot, but it also still shows what Hollywood is not doing and how they still won't take that risk. We go to movies. Y'all keep telling us as black people we won't be these international hits and these stars. And
mhm.
it happens time and time again where we prove you guys wrong and y'all still just want to keep making the same mediocre stuff, rebooting stuff. Why does
Yeah.
everything need a sequel or a prequel? I'm like Weapons. Weapons was a great thriller, right? Why do we need a prequel? Y'all could have told us more about Aunt Gladys in this film And then from there, okay, I get it. But y'all keep missing the mark and I get frustrated.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I say all that to say I've really enjoyed our hour together.
Oh, what? But I was just trying to look at like what movies have come out this year that has even been worth talking about.
Okay, you go ahead. You keep doing that. You like I'm running it down. I'm looking.
Because I was like, wait a minute, hold on. And oh man, yeah. This has not been a great year for movies, to be honest. I
Yeah,
mean, shout out to Mission Impossible and F1, but I didn't see that. I didn't see those.
I didn't. Okay, me neither. But then I heard F1 was really good, and I was told I would enjoy it. Once I was like, okay, I'll wait for streaming because Simone Ashley entire character was pretty much cut out that film.
Oh,
Like
for
she's
real?
like in a scene, like she had a whole, which I'm interested. I'm like, I want to see it because I wonder if it was something where maybe she was Damson Idris's like love interest or something, or they had
Oh,
something,
okay.
and they was like, it's too much brown on the screen. We have to make this
Ooh.
about Brad Pitt. So
Mm.
that was I was wondering about that, but like you said, like that does happen in Hollywood quite often. Going back to uh redo things, change things. I was told that that new movie with Marlon, which for me it wasn't as terrible as people made it out to be. Had a different ending, and they went back and shot something else. So,
Oh, they got a different ending for this too?
hmm
Oh,
like
damn.
versus what was in the script, and they went back and changed it. So it's like probably the same thing, like you said, it didn't test well with audiences.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been an interesting year for film, and as
Yeah.
a whole. And
Oh
I
my
love going
goodness.
to the movies.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? So I don't know. Keep going to the movies, y'all. Keep going to the movies, even if it's bad, because something good is gonna pop up,
Something
like
good is gonna pop up.
one battle after another.
God, it's just so good.
So
It's so good. It's so good.
good. Yeah.
And I'll say this, going back to Sinners, and I've said this before on the show. I said I think what made Sinners also a huge hit, because you remember how Variety and all them tried to play it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, there was a nostalgia factor behind that roll out, just like the press run.
Yeah.
And similarly to Mission Impossible, you hit in all these countries, and that's something we hadn't seen even for real, prior to COVID, where the actors, you go into Spain, you go into Mexico, you go into France, London, all these places, and
Right.
premiering this
Right.
film, where they really went old school with it and really engaged with the audience to get
Yeah.
people to come
Yeah.
out. And you see it similarly now on that press one with Cardi B for this latest album. And I
Oh,
think
right.
it's
Yeah.
genius. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Do the rollout. They call them the rollout.
roll out. So okay, before we leave,
Okay.
is there a director or actor that you would love to work with that you have not gotten the opportunity to work with yet?
Man, I've been blessed. I've been able to work with a lot of great actors and
I
actresses,
know.
and somebody who I haven't worked with. Oh yeah, easy. I would have a week ago when we talked about this interview, I would have said, "Oh, Keith David," things like that. But Will Ferrell, but I've done that already, so I can't say them. And but hands down, after that, like anytime somebody would say, "What kind of whose career would you want?" I would always say either Keith David or Bokeem Woodbine, like you know,
Oh.
and I just think that working with Bokeem would be such a, a pleasure, you know. just whatever to match that energy. And I don't know, man. He's always been like a real force for me, and I always kind of looked up to his abilities when he was, in the early '90s, mid '90s, when he had all those string of roles that just kind of spoke to the culture. So
Hmm.
yeah, I say him, and then one other person. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to act with him as much as I just want to hang out with him and just be friends, like Andre 3000. Like,
Okay, that's
I
fair.
want to like
He's dope.
I want to be directed by him. I feel like he would be a really good director. You know, like he have a good visual for something, and it'll be super out of this world.
He's an
And
Aquarius. This makes sense.
yeah, so like yeah, I would love to be like directed by him, or like help build a vision of his that he would want to see come alive. That would be really cool.
Hey, that's really dope. Because people always say it's like, oh, I would love to work with, Will or Denzel or things like that. So it's always nice to hear people's answers and when their answers are so out of the box too. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've always known, because when I was at school and they asked that question, and I say, Keith David, Bokeem Woodbine, and they're like, "Who?" I was like, "Man,
yeah, I don't even
y'all
know.
are so whack for not knowing who these guys are." Um, but yeah, like they just, more than anything, they just been consistent and
Yeah.
consistently good. You know, uh, and here's another out about Woody Harrelson. I really want to work
I
with Woody
love
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. I'm
I
not
feel like he'd be
I
really fun.
yes.
I feel like he'd
Yeah.
be really fun to act with.
Man, I
Yeah.
worked. I did some extra work at the beginning of the summer on High Potential and got the luxury to work with Clifton Powell, and that was really dope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, because you never know what happens going to set doing background work, and that was really dope, and ended up being in the scene with him and him just getting the knowledge and you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it was that was dope. I was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
the highlights of the year. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to see that. But so and I just got an alert from Spectrum saying that there's an outage and it'll probably be until 4 o'clock, which is annoying.
That's funny. We
So
got
of
our we
course.
got our outage notice yesterday at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Saying that our outage would be from 2 a.m. till 12 p.m. But luckily it let up a lot earlier than that. So
Well, I appreciate you so much for stopping by the podcast, and I hope to have you on again because we
absolutely.
friends.
Absolutely, absolutely. We maybe close to the time Lincoln Lawyer is gonna come out or something.
Yeah.
I'm in the latest season of Lincoln Lawyer. Uh, that'll
Booked
be
and
coming
busy. We
out.
love to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to coming on again and getting even deeper.
Yes, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and the audience. And please, everyone, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. And we will see you here next week.